So I'll introduce you to the audience. So hello, Carys. Good to see
Hello.
you. Hello,
Good to
hello.
see you too.
I think now, I wanted to have a conversation about it anyway, in
hmm
regards to, online training. And it could be anything. It could be your business being a massage therapist. You could be a chiropractor. But I think specifically with training, whereas you have a brick and mortar approach to how you sell, if you're working at a gym and you have a physical contact with somebody, that's going to be a little bit different approach as far as selling in some ways, and obviously marketing is going to be, which is why you're on to do the
Right,
marketing of it,
of course.
compared to drumming up business for an online business. If you're doing virtual, let's say, Zoom training or FaceTime training, or just have your own business in general where you don't have a brick and mortar location, or maybe you have your own studio. Regardless, that's still going to be a different approach.
Right.
So I want to have a conversation with you about that. And just talk a little bit about the marketing end of it, and then I want to talk a little bit about how do you approach that from a sales perspective, in general and specifically to that sale. All the course materials, everything in the seminars and all the things we talk about in sales still apply,
hmm
but the main thing we have to consider is, okay, once we actually are talking to this person, where do we go from there? So my big thing is, if you have a brick and mortar store, one of the things I always talk about, if you talk to them on the phone and you've never met them, you're not trying to sell them anything over the phone. What are you
Right.
trying to do? You're trying to get them in to be able to sit down with you.
hmm
So essentially what we're trying to do is create that same exact experience online. So I
Yes.
still want to sit down with them. I still want to perform almost like a virtual reality tour. I still want to have and conduct a needs analysis with them and
hmm
get to know them, what their goals are, find their driving wants. All the same stuff that you would do in a tour and a sales presentation is still going to be conducted, but you have to have or create that opportunity to have them in front of you face to face. Closest thing to being, physically with them would be,
Something like this.
right, something like this.
hmm Well, I mean, the fact is, I mean, everyone knows people buy from who they know, like, and trust. So for them to be able to have that contact with you beforehand, you have to go into all those things about them. Like, people love to talk about themselves.
Mhm.
And that's what I've noticed from my end as well in terms of marketing, is that, like, when I've talked to people, I'm always asking them questions about themselves and their background, and because they love to talk about it. Whether it's, talking to a business owner about their brick and mortar business, or you're talking to a potential client, they love to tell you about themselves, and that gets them to open up more about them, which allows them to trust you more.
Mhm.
So whether it's for, marketing, whether it's for trying to get someone into a gym, it's always good to have that first connection be something where you're really going into their background and having them open up, because that allows them to trust you more, so they're more likely to follow through on things like coming into the gym.
Mhm.
um yeah.
Yeah, all the same principles still apply. All the same, the active listening, the asking open-ended questions, the
Uh-huh.
uncovering their driving want. All those things still apply. We're building rapport. It's just we're doing it. We have to get in front of them still, right? We're
hmm
not going to do that over the phone more than likely, unless you're using FaceTime or something like that. And you're not going to be able to be physically with them. So you have, like, this would be pretty ideal because we're sitting down. So you don't want to sell to anybody when you're standing up, and you want to have at least online, I'd say you want to have at least 20 minutes with them. You don't tell them how long it's going to take. You just, hey, take a few moments of your time. Promise won't waste your time. If you haven't sold them yet,
hmm
sit down with them, talk to them, and then by the time you're done asking them questions, it ends up being what it is. And usually it's a lot longer than they would have committed to
Of
prior
course.
to that. But it's all the same material. It's all the same stuff. Nothing's different other than you doing it virtue of online, or the only thing that's different is you're doing it online as opposed to meeting them in person, which is the next best thing.
Right.
But my question to you would be, from a marketing standpoint, and from a digital marketing standpoint, because this is your wheelhouse, how do you get them to that point to where you're in front of them? Like right now, here's where we are. But if you were a prospect of mine, how do I get you in front of me right now to talk to you and use my sales skills?
So basically it takes around 7 touches to a person to be able to get to there. So this is where you have the broad network of everything, and you want to have, so typically you'll start with like Facebook ads. So whether that's, it could be a Facebook ad, it could be, you can also hook up to like Instagram ads, YouTube ads, something like that. But basically you want to start by getting in front of their face, whether that is by a picture, whether it's by a video, but you want them to see your face, you want them to see your name. The first 1, 2, 3 times, it could be a quick ad that they skip past and that's it. But if you keep going in front of them, they're going to start to be like, okay, well, let me see what this is about. Once they start at the top of the funnel and they're basically like a cold audience, once they basically start to know you a little better, maybe they click on your ad, that's when they become a little warmer. So they're getting basically into the first step of the funnel. Once they go to your ad, that's the next step. So from there, typically you want to collect their information to have them as a lead. So usually that first step of the funnel, maybe you have some sort of opt-in for like an email sequence that you've created for more information. A lot of things that people will do is they'll have a downloadable PDF. So basically it will be something they've created that's for free, that basically they can download. Maybe for a personal trainer, it's like their top 10 weight loss tips, or
teaser.
Yes, something that's for free. Basically, you spend a little time on it, but once it's made, it's made. But from there, what's great is that in order to get it, they're giving their name, their phone number, and their email. So you basically have them come onto the page, they put in their information, and then once you get that information, they get to the next page, and then they say, oh, thank you for downloading blah. It's going to be in your email in about 2 to 5 minutes, and then you're collecting their lead to then put them in your email marketing, to have those continued touch points.
I was going to say, this is very similar to, again, if you're a brick and mortar gym, it's touch points. You don't necessarily have to sell them. Don't worry about selling them right this second. So over time, they become familiar with you, and then you happen to be the resident expert. So when they decide to make that buying decision, you're the one they go to.
Exactly. And you want to have that, you want to be that in the forefront of their mind and be that authority figure that they are like, if it comes to it, they're like, oh yeah, no, I should have a trainer, but I want to have, I don't really know where to start. It's like, then your ad pops up. So if they go on the page, they're going to download your thing, and, someone comes to the door, or they need to go leave somewhere and they didn't put their information in, you can basically then use retargeting ads, where you can go and retarget these people and say, hey, I saw that you almost, downloaded this. I know you may have been busy. Why don't you go and click back on this ad and go and download your free weight loss tips form or whatever. So then you can use retargeting ads. Now, retargeting ads have a lot higher of a basically success rate for getting those return, because the fact that these people have seen your face before, they've seen your name before, they've seen the ad. Right. So that's why retargeting ads do so well, is because they're a little bit warmer than they were before. Okay. So you could also say they go on and they download your thing, then you go to a thank you page, say, hey, it's gonna be in your inbox or whatever. From there, you could say, hey, schedule your transformation call, schedule your, whether it's, in person, you could say schedule your fitness assessment or whatever in the next 24 hours, and you could get this. So basically it's that next step. You want to upsell them on something else. So usually that's when you could say, what a lot of people would do is they'll go through Calendly, which is basically a scheduling software for calls. So they'll say, hey, schedule this, usually in the next 24 hours, and you get a free, nutrition guidance plan or something like that. So basically you want them to take that next step. And yes, you'll get people who will then disperse out from there, but you'll get those people who are a little serious and they want to book that call.
It's still a numbers game.
Yep. And so they're just going down that funnel to the point that then you have clients, you have
So
customers, you have.
for the audience that doesn't know, describe a funnel in terms of digital marketing.
So a funnel is basically, you have your big pool of people, and these are all potential customers. Basically, your end job.
Before they're targeted, or?
Yeah, this is like anyone and everyone.
Okay.
At the bottom of your funnel are those paying customers.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
basically, that first step of the funnel is you deciding your audience. It's you picking on your niche and everything else. That first step of the funnel is when they are getting targeted. They're having that very first touch point. From there, you move to the next part of the funnel. Then, like I said, that may be like downloading that PDF or something like that. Then they're getting a little warmer. Then from there, at all the stages of the funnel, you'll have people who will leave, but that's why you have retargeting ads to target those people to get them back in the funnel. Then maybe the next step is, they buy ebook or something like that.
It's like a qualifying filter.
Yes. And then they get that. You'll have some people leave, but some people will buy that, $10 ebook. Then from there, you want to the next step of the funnel. You're basically just upselling them to the last point. They are paying for your premium like service, whatever that may be.
Okay.
So they just go through steps. But the fact is that the more they go through the steps, the more they know you, the more they like you, the more they trust you.
Okay.
And become a client.
So what would you say to a health and fitness professional, specifically trainers in this case, because my whole thing would be that is very much automated digital marketing, which is great. So it's doing it for you. These are people that you can't possibly talk to every single one of them, obviously, right?
Right.
But how do we get some of those people? Because all people we're trying to do is to, we know, like I know I'm comfortable if I can get somebody in front of me, I can use my sales skills and I'm going to sell them a high percentage of the time.
Right.
So my big thing is to recommend health and fitness professionals to get them in front of them either physically or through this virtual reality. Well, how do we get them in front of us more often? Like how can we take digital marketing and somehow transition that to, okay, I'm having a conversation with this person. I'm basically conducting a virtual needs analysis. So if you explained to me the funnel, that's all like, if I own a business, that's all, people that don't know that it's automated digital marketing essentially, right? I'm not doing it one-on-one because this is the whole point of it.
Right.
So a lot of those people end up at the end of the funnel and I didn't really do anything to get to them, and they might buy without me ever having a conversation with them. And then maybe after they buy, I have a conversation with them, do the needs analysis, because now they arrived at me because they've joined or they've bought training from me. But what about my whole thing about with selling somebody is I know that I'm confident once they get in front of me. That's why I always recommend do whatever you can do to get the person in front of you, even if it's not physically in the same room with you, even if it's through Skype or FaceTime or Zoom. So how would you use digital marketing, or how would you recommend at least having the conversation with them like that? How do we get them here in this step right here to where I can use my sales skills and perform a needs analysis like I would if I were at a brick and mortar store and they walked in?
So this is where I would get them through the first part of the funnel. And then when you go, I would still probably you could do a downloadable and then do the next step, or you just go straight into creating an ad that basically offers a transformation call, something like that, basically offering, hey, you get a free call with, a fitness professional to go over your goals, go over do that needs analysis and everything else.
Consultation.
Exactly. So you're pretty much getting them set up for some sort of video call to go over everything, and basically you would then do what you do in person.
Gotcha. Okay.
You have your call, and then you basically sell from there. Because someone's sitting, just like in person, someone's sitting there and saying, I don't work out, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know where to start.
Yeah, you go right into it.
Exactly. It's not like you're even selling them. Like you obviously need to think like you're helping them to have those answers. You're giving them a solution. Yeah. There's a reason if it's an ad about transformation, and maybe it's like a mother who can't get off her weight from her child, or something like that. If they don't know what they're doing and they don't know where to start, they clicked on your ad for a reason. They want that help. So this is where you are able to come in, whether it's in person, whether it's on a video call like this, like, hey, I know we go over some valuable stuff to start, and then just kind of go into that sales portion of like, if you want further information, if you want further help, we can do this, this, and this. And then that's going to be a conversion factor.
I think what I want to stress to the viewer, or the personal trainers out there, or any health and fitness professional, is there's no difference once you come one-on-one with that person. There's really no change in the way you approach them. The only thing that's different, I mean, you're still creating connection, still creating rapport, all the stuff that we would normally do. The only difference is you could just have to get them sitting down. That would be the same if you were a brick and mortar business anyway. It'd be the same thing, because you still got to get them in your gym. So when you're making that telephone call, instead of making a telephone call to try to convince them to come in, your funnel's doing that for you. Right? Or your ads doing that for you to get you to this position. But ultimately what you want to do to build the most value and to make sure that you close them is to be able to use your sales skills by being in front of them, because otherwise you cannot create a connection. And all you are is a number, just like they are to you. And so I guess you're really trying to build as much human connection as you can and much rapport as you can, and really make them feel special and be able to customize the experience just like you would normally, but through digital means.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so yeah, now that's very informative, because from a personal training perspective, getting them from point A to point B in your own business might seem a little different, but it really isn't that much different.
No. And the great thing is that it's not like in person, if you do need to make those calls or, send those emails to get those people in, once you create an ad, it's all passive. You could go to sleep and wake up with 3 calls booked the next day.
Exactly.
You've got overnight. So once you spend that little bit of legwork at the start, setting it all up, you're good. Like, it's just going to keep on rolling and booking you things while you're sleeping.
And you personal trainers and health and fitness professionals and owners and managers out there, this is what we do. So if you need help with the digital marketing aspect of it, Carys will take care of that. If you need help with the sales portion of it, once you get them there, I'm your man. And together we are a dynamic duo here. So
I was just about to say that.
We're quite dynamic, but we're here for, this is what we do. This is why we're here. And I think this discussion really helped people kind of clarify what to do, especially, in times like this, where there is a quarantine, because at the time of shooting, there's still a quarantine and lockdown over the coronavirus, which is kind of the inspiration for this video, because there's a lot of people trying to make that move to online. And I'm here to emphasize that, hey, the sales process is still the same, but you got to get them just like you would into a physical building. You have to get them to your room with them one-on-one, sitting down, like it's Vegas, baby. Turn off life, pump in the oxygen, no clocks or watches here, and have that one-on-one time, be in a moment with them, ask open-ended questions, and create an experience for them, make them feel special, and customize, find solutions based off of their needs.
Yep, 100%.
Cool. Well, thank you for your time, and we will reconvene later on.
Thank you.
Thank you.